Welcome to Electric Evolution with Liz Allan. This podcast is about the journey to a more sustainable future in order for us to be able to do our bit to achieve net zero. I'll be discussing a variety of topics with experts in their field in order to educate and increase our knowledge of clean energy, electric vehicles and the electric vehicle infrastructure. So whether you're an individual wanting to make a difference at home, a small business or a corporate, this podcast is just for you. So, on the podcast today, I have got Heather Kennedy. She's from Connected Kerb and she's the account manager for Scotland and Northern Ireland. And we've been in touch a little bit, haven't we, on WhatsApp. We're both in a WhatsApp group called Women in EV. So it's actually lovely to see you face to face, even though we're not face to face. Nice to see you, Heather. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, you too, Liz. Thanks so much for having me on. It's great to be involved.
It's lovely.
In this.
So just to give you I'm going to give a little potted history, and you can kind of you can add on to this one. So yeah, account manager Scotland and Northern Ireland at Connected Kerb. You were previously business development manager for EO Charging. You've worked in sustainability and charging for quite a while, haven't you? But the other thing I wanted to highlight was Heather is the founder of the Scottish EV Drivers Club, which is fantastic. So we will be talking about that as well during this podcast. But listen, it's great to meet you. How did you get to what you're doing now? What was the journey for you?
Oh, such a long journey, Liz. So back in 2015, I had a petrol car, a Mazda 5, and I took my son to Beavers, and the car broke down, and that was it.
No.
Honestly, I was just so stressed. So I decided, right, okay, let's go start looking for another car. And it was a bit of an accident that I ended up getting an electric vehicle. So I got a Renault Zoe.
Right.
Everybody thought I was mad. I did no research whatsoever. At the time as well, I was working for a local authority. So I had no experience in the EV sector or anything.
Oh God.
So I just was hooked from there. Wasn't even a car geek before that. I just wanted to get from A to B, and now it's just been amazing, the journey. So I set up the Scottish EV Drivers Club because the garage itself didn't really know anything about EVs, which is not great when you're buying one.
No.
They gave me a Polar charge card, which there was no charge points in Scotland at the time. They said, yeah, this is great, you've got 6 months free charging. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh, okay, I can't actually use it. So I set up the Facebook group, the Scottish EV Drivers Club, and from there we started getting people joining. I met a chap who had a Renault Zoe, and he came along and showed me how to work the car, how to charge it. Bless, I know. And then I thought, this is exactly what I want this group to be about. So it sort of grew from there. So I ended up organising meets, which was the kind of first thing. We had our first meet at the Riverside Museum in Glasgow. There was millions of Zoes there.
Oh my God, was there?
Yeah, so from there, I decided that it just kind of changed my mindset into being more energy efficient, thinking more about environment, things like that. So I decided to change my career, and I joined Home Energy Scotland as an energy advisor. So that was the kind of the side step in. And from there, I learned everything between renewables. I learned things how buildings energy efficiency, how to read an electric bill. I'm now an electric bill geek. Everybody asked me to help. And then I sort of moved up to sustainable transport coordinator. So I did that for a few years, and that was helping businesses and local authorities just help make the switch to electric vehicles. And then my lovely friend Anne, who worked at EO Charging at the time, invited me to join them. So I worked there for a year as a BDM, but then, as I say, Connected Kerb a year later poached me. I've been there. That's a year past April. So yeah, it's been a kind of unusual journey from not knowing anything about sustainability, EVs or anything like that, to just. And I think the club's definitely been the sort of one thing that's got me in the door, sort of thing. So
bless you.
Yeah.
So how many members are in the club then?
We have about 2,600. at the moment. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And is it just a Facebook group or do you have a website for it as well?
I started off with a website. I had a bit of help with that, but I kind of gave up on it. It's hard when you, at the time I was part-time when I set it up, and then I'm now full-time, so I
Mm,
gave that
mm.
up. But I do have Twitter, and I've got a Facebook page, and I've got Instagram, which I must admit I'm not using as much as I should. But
It's
yes,
difficult, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is.
Especially
It's
if you're
really difficult.
full time.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Oh,
But
fantastic.
yeah.
So go on. So tell me. So why did you jump into Connected Kerb? So start off. Can you just tell for those people who are listening who don't know what Connected Kerb do? What solutions do they provide? Do you provide?
Yeah, so basically it's to help make towns and cities smarter and greener, and we've got innovative kerbside electric vehicle charge point solutions. So we offer to public sector, workplaces, retail parks, destinations, residential developments, and commercial real estate. So we've got a whole list. Um, so Connected Kerb, the charge points are different from a lot of the other ones on the market, as in we bury everything into the ground in a node box. So all the kind of main components of the charge point are kept safe underground, and then it's just literally a charge point. I'm just trying to show you.
For those who were listening, she just did a little vertical sign. Yeah, vertical sign. Right.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like is it like a bollard then?
Yeah, so we used to have a thing called a gecko. It was two heads, but we're sort of doing away with that now. So it's called a chameleon, and it is like a bollard design, and it's all designed to be accessible. So anybody should be able to use it. It's one-handed operation. Um, but the good thing as well about our system is it's modular, so you can it's future proofed as well. So say in the
Mm.
future somebody decides to design the wireless charging, all the kind of infrastructure's there in the ground, and it's a case of changing the actual post and putting the wireless charging in. So you don't need to then dig up anything again. Um,
Oh right. So you've got all the gubbins underground, as
yeah,
it were, kind of thing.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So we can incorporate as well, which is really cool, things like your fibre. So say Virgin Media's in the area, whoever it is, and they want to, you're installing, they're going to be putting fibre in that area. They can actually use the same space in the ground as we're digging up, so you're not digging up twice, sort of thing.
Oh, that makes
Yeah,
sense. Oh,
we've
goodness
yeah.
me.
So there's other things as well, like we can incorporate 5G repeaters, Internet of Things. You've got Coventry Council working on a trial at the moment. It's like the parking sensors.
Right.
Air quality sensors can be incorporated as well. So it's a wee bit more innovative sort of solutions
Yeah.
than
Yeah. Okay. So that's really interesting to say that you can. So what? So you kind of collaborating with other companies to
yeah.
do all this then?
Yes, uh-huh.
And where are you mostly selling it into then? Is it mostly into local authorities or is it kind of a mixture of places then?
Yeah, so probably the chameleon, yes, I would say is local authorities. The team in England have just, I think the biggest contract in the Europe recently was 10,000 chargers. Um, so we've sold that to a local authority. Yeah, so there's loads of different contracts like that out there.
Yeah, okay. And so how many people work at Connected Kerb then? Is it because I'm
Uh,
assuming you've kind of gone from I don't know I suppose I don't know its history. Has it gone from very small kind of innovative
yeah.
growth to kind of quite a large company then now?
Yeah, so I think when I started there might have been about 60 or 70, but we now must be about 150, but I've lost track to be honest, Liz, because every time you go on Teams and somebody else is, oh, three more people's joined.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it is a fast growing company, but I think
Mm.
way back in the beginning, I think they actually joked we had more awards than charge points in the ground, but it's the opposite now. So Yeah.
Oh, amazing. I'm just actually looking, I'm looking now on the website. So the actual, I don't know which ones they are, but I can see that they are quite low down. So
Hmm.
it's, I'm assuming, so you take your own cable, you use your own cable
Yep.
for them. They're not cabled
Yes.
up already.
Uh-huh.
So I suppose it's kind of minimizing all the trail coming out
Yeah,
onto the
that's it.
roadside, isn't it?
Yeah, and we sort of try and deploy them as near to the curb as possible, and we tend to try and put, dropped curbs and things so that it is more accessible for less able users as well. So
Yeah.
it's
Okay. So where would you say, so up in Scotland,
mhm.
for example, because obviously that's where you're looking after
Yeah.
specifically. What areas are you mostly in then?
We have charge points in Dumfries and Galloway, Stirling, Aberdeenshire, East Lothian. We've got two agile streets trials. I don't know if you've heard of that, Liz.
No, tell me.
So it was Bayes funding. It's finished now, but it was a trial, and it was for users that can set an sort of off-peak tariff. So people
Mm,
at home can obviously use the off-peak tariffs to charge up their cars to make it cheaper at
mm,
home. So
mm,
we decided to set this trial up so that it was accessible and affordable for everybody.
mm,
So Glasgow had charge points and East Lothian did. And we had an app it was a sliding scale. So you would basically just decide when you wanted your car to be ready the next morning,
mm,
and it would work out the sort of cheapest and the most greenest times. So you would end up paying less for your charge than you would be if
mm,
you decided you wanted it ready
mm,
sort of there and then. Um, the trial in Glasgow, it was actually at Glasgow City Council was all free. So they've recently started charging throughout the whole of Glasgow, but at the time it was all free, and our charge points you had to pay for, but it was actually something like 25% utilisation. So it just proved that people wanted the chance to be able to park outside their house and charge up on the rates that they can't get anywhere else.
mm,
So
mm. It sounds it sounds quite innovative, really, the way
mhm,
that you're kind of doing this. So
yeah.
is this trial, is this kind of now going to be rolled out in other councils?
So the trial had ended, so we're actually working internally to try and roll that out.
Mm,
But at the moment, I've not got any idea the exact time scale, but as something we're really looking forward to rolling out.
mm, because that sounds like
Yeah.
a good idea, especially so where so like you said, you've got your utilization rate. I totally get where you're coming from. Do you decide, or do you help the local authorities decide the best? I'll get my teeth in the best places to actually put the charge points then, or do they have an idea, or and you have an idea? How does it work?
So we've actually got an in-house built site selection tool. Our lovely Suzanne is in charge of that. It's absolutely amazing. So what it does, it's like a mapping system, and it brings in data from everywhere. Things like you've got flooding areas. You've got things like the electric vehicle ownership. Um, what else is there? Sort of like incomes and things like that, whether people have driveways, so obviously they'll disregard those sort of areas, things like what street furniture's already there, that,
Mm,
and then we would work with a local authority. They might have their own sort of input as well, but the tool brings everything together, and then it's a sort of heat map, so it works out sort of the best areas, and then you can zoom in on it and say, yeah, well, the curb's not big enough, so that's not a good area, sort of thing.
mm,
But if they've got charge points in that area as well, we can also look at the data from that, and work out the sort of best locations. If we have charge points there, it works out the sort of kind of what's in use at the moment.
mm, mm. Okay, okay. That's a good way of doing it then. And then sort of what you share that with the local authority, and then kind of they decide where, between you decide between
Yeah,
you.
It's
Okay.
all kind of, it's a joint sort of thing.
Yeah.
We would sort of, because they might have more a local insight than what the tool can give us, so we would input that in as well,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
helpful. So, but it's really, really good tool.
I was going to say, because can they pull off traffic data as well to kind of look at sort of like how busy streets are and things like that? Can councils do that? I'm not sure.
I think they can.
Mm.
I don't know if the tool can do that. That's one for Suzanne to ask, but
Mm, mm.
yeah, I'm sure they can pull traffic data.
Okay.
So they would be
'Cause-
able to put input as well. I
yeah, I
think
suppose you
some,
can layer that information up then,
yeah,
can't you,
yeah,
to kind of have
basically,
a
uh-huh.
full picture. So we've got the story of Connected Kerb. So do you know whose idea it was? Because I
So
know
we,
Chris Jones is the CEO, isn't he?
yeah,
But
he's the CEO.
who
We've got,
invented it?
yeah, we've got various founders that sort of had the idea. Um, I don't know exactly who at the beginning.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I think Chris came in slightly later, but there was a few founders that sort of had the ideas. In fact, I think the first charge point they had was, oh, what was it called? It was a small one on the ground, and it was a great idea, but it was really low, and I think it was more sort of a dog stopping sort of area.
Right.
Do you know what I
Right.
mean? So that sort of got kiboshed, but yeah, I mean, we're always thinking up innovative new ways. The team's just amazing. They are really innovative. Some of the people we work with, just
Mm,
always thinking up new ideas and learning things from EV drivers. We've also got the most amazing customer service team. So I've obviously charged as well, and I was like, I charged up, and then you get an email to say thank you so much for charging, and it's the nicest thing in the world, to get an email to say, and we hope you enjoyed it, blah blah blah, send feedback. So I did that, and I was like, it seems strange sending feedback to the team that I work with, but it's just so nice to be able to do that. The other thing the team do at customer services is, so you can see whether somebody's maybe stuck or having an issue, a failed charge, and they're on it straight away, and they'll either phone
mm,
the customer or they'll email them. um, so
mm.
I know that as well, because sometimes I volunteer to do the phones at the weekends, so it's a good sort of way to see how things run in the background. But yeah, it's just a wee bit, yeah, customer service is really, really high in our agenda at Connected Kerb.
Yeah. So you're saying that it's so you have 24/7 kind of customer service then, because I suppose you have to do in things with things like this,
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah. No, we do. We have call care through the evenings as well. But it can get escalated. We've got people there that can. So sometimes at the weekends they would phone through, and it would be myself to help with a trap
Mm,
cable or something like that.
mm,
But
mm.
yeah, no, there is a team there that's available to help.
So what's the most, when you've taken the phone calls then, what's the most unusual call you've taken? Has there been
Eh,
anything, or have they all been
no,
quite straightforward? Have they been,
normally stuck cables.
is it
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they can't get them out of the car, or can't get them out
Both
the
really. Yeah. Uh-huh. It's quite a common thing. I've had that quite a few times in charge points, and sometimes it's just the way the car is, because every car is different. So
yeah.
your Zoe might be different from your Leaf. So,
Mm,
and it's like
mm,
you unplug this end first or that end. So it really, and then other things like some of the cars, you have to make sure all your windows is locked or shut and the doors are locked before you can charge it or take the cable out. There's all these wee kind of quirks. So
yeah, so we've just got a Hyundai, however you want to call it, Ionic. So I'm just getting used to that at the moment. Last
yeah.
night, I have to say, and this is recorded on the podcast. I had a really awful night's sleep because I was worrying that the car wouldn't be charged up tomorrow, and I'm not even sorry, today, and I'm not even going away until tomorrow, which
Oh.
is ridiculous, isn't it? But when you're just getting used to something, because it's so new
Yeah.
to us, and we've got a home charger, so well, we've had this conversation, haven't we,
Yep.
about kind of, because for everybody's, just to kind of let everybody know. So both Heather and I and another chap, we've all got kind of, we've got solar, we've got Give Energy batteries, haven't we? So
Yep.
we set up a little WhatsApp group that was to cover that. So we've got our Zappy, and our Zappy, kind of works off the solar, but because the weather's been so chronic, hasn't it? It's just been
Yeah,
awful.
it's been
We're just
awful.
not getting any solar utilization from the solar. So it gets to kind of like, sort of 6, 7 o'clock. And my husband's going, we've not got very much battery left. I'm like, well, and you've got a bigger battery than
Yeah,
we have, haven't you?
yeah. No, it's a 9.5 kilowatt
My
battery,
God,
but
that's
yeah,
like double hours.
I know, but it's good. It is good, but yeah.
So when did you get yours, and how many panels have you got then? We're going off the subject now,
I
but I'm happy
know.
with that.
I got mine installed in November, so it's probably the worst time of the year to actually benefit from anything. But with the Octopus Go tariff, I was able to charge up at night at the battery and charge the car at the same time, which I didn't know you could do. I
Right.
thought it would blow the house up, but nope. So that was good. And then you can just use the cheap rate through the night. Then you're not really using the day rate sort of thing. So we've
Yeah.
saved quite a bit. It's hard to sort of work out how much, but yeah, it has been quite a big saving so far. So
But
even even in the winter.
you told us as well about Octoaid, didn't you?
Yeah, Octoade app, yeah, it's brilliant.
Because so we're both well, I think all three of us are on the same group.
Yeah,
We're all on with Octopus Energy, aren't we?
yeah,
And the Octoaid app is amazing
yeah,
because it gives you like your day by day and week by week how much money you're spending on gas and electricity, doesn't it?
yeah.
So it'll it makes a massive difference being able to see all of that, doesn't
It
it?
does, yeah. No, it's good being able to see it, and obviously it gives you the estimate as well, what it's going to be that month based on what
Mm.
you've consumed sort of so far. So you can then make adjustments to the way you do things.
Well, exactly. So last night, my husband's going, "Are you going to do your ironing?" And I was like, "Oh, well, actually, no, it wasn't last night. It was yesterday afternoon. Are you going to do your ironing?" And I was like, "Right, okay." It just shows my very exciting life. Just because we had some solar coming through, because we actually missed. Because so obviously people who've had solar panels for years and years, like my in-laws have had them
Yeah,
for about 10, 12 years now. They got the feed-in tariff, which is a massive, you get a massive kind of remuneration for that one,
yeah,
don't you? But I think it's only tiny for us now, isn't it? I can't remember, it's pence or
yeah.
something.
It
You
was
probably
something like
know.
if you were on the Go tariff, it was only like 4.5 pence. So
Mm,
that's why I changed to the Octopus Flux,
yes.
which is
Yeah. And we're
is
both
a
waiting
lot more.
for, what's the new one that's coming in?
Flux Intelligent.
That's it. That's it. Because I've heard other people talking about the agile tariff as well, where
Yeah,
you can get free energy at certain parts of the day to try and I'm assuming that is to try and help change people's behaviour
yeah,
overall, isn't it?
it is. Just the only thing with that, it is more complicated when you're trying to fill the battery up because the Give Energy battery doesn't actually have an automation as such yet. I think then obviously the Flux Intelligent will have, and that's why I'm
Mm.
so excited to have it, to be able to use that, because at the moment I'm having to set my alarm for 4 o'clock and then 7 o'clock
Please tell me not in the morning.
no, at night, so that I can dump all my energy to the grid and then stop at 7. But sometimes I forget, and it's like I'm in the middle of driving, or so having the Flux Intelligent will be a godsend with that. So
So what will that do that we're not getting currently?
it'll just automate it, so you
So
don't
it will
even need
just
to
do
think
that.
about it, which is
Oh
great.
my God. So that means my husband's not going to be shouting up to me going, just don't forget to do this. Can't put the washing on until this time, until we've got sunshine. Well, that's never
Yeah.
going to happen, is it? You
Oh,
know?
Liz, you've no idea. See, Phil, we bought an air fryer, so my husband thought it was a great idea putting the air fryer on for chips and putting the oven on for something else. And I was like, don't you realise it's actually double the amount of electricity? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes,
So
I
I had
know.
to, I had to kind of educate him a bit. So
Well, I think he's having to educate me a bit because Because there are things. It's a bit like the whole moving to an EV, all of
Yeah.
this.
Uh-huh.
So we've kind of in the last sort of 6 months, we've gone from being totally, on the grid and everything, and I'm driving a petrol car, to coming, sort of actually having the solar, having the battery, having the zappy, having the car, and it's kind of like, oh my God. And I mean, part of the reason for this part, I always say this, part of the reason for this podcast was for learning about this. So
Yeah.
actually, it's good for me and you to have a chat
Yeah.
about this, and for anybody who is thinking of getting, solar and batteries. Yes, we do have problems with sunshine at the moment. Because everywhere else has had it and we haven't, have we? So my
Yeah.
husband tells me that we're kind of the jet stream. We've got the one coming from the Antarctic. Great stuff. But actually, as and when we do get some sunshine, I mean, this, if we'd have had solar this time last year, how long have you had yours?
This is my first summer, so it was
Is
November.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Of
So
course,
it's the
sorry,
first.
you've just said. See, I've got memory like a sieve. But sorry, doll.
Yeah,
Yeah, so same. It's the same. If we'd have had it this time last year, we had such
yeah,
a beautiful summer, didn't we? We'd have been,
yeah.
well, we wouldn't have been quids in. We'd have been pence in.
I know. Well, and it was May. It was right about May. It was really nice, and I was on the flux then. And I think most days I was earning about £2 back, and that was from my gas, electricity, and all the standing charges.
Was
So
it?
yeah, yeah. So I actually ended up in credit by about two
Now,
pounds every day.
and that makes a difference, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. Because
But
then
I
you can use that, like, so you can keep that in your account, and then when things are not as good in the winter, it's helping pay for it then. So
yeah,
yeah, it's been
yeah.
really good.
Do you get any subsidies up in Scotland for anything at all?
So I got the interest-free loan to buy the battery and the solar.
Because we don't have that down here anymore,
Yeah,
do we?
I think it's finished now. I
Yeah,
think you have to get a heat pump as well at the same time as getting the
right,
solar and battery, which is just too expensive. But yeah, so I'm paying back over 10 years, which is,
right.
if you've got the money, it's great. But it's really
You've
good
got
scheme. It's interest free, so
And that's good, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
if you can do it like that, I just wish they'd do more things like that down here, in England, because why, it would encourage more people
hmm,
to actually become more sustainable if it was more, if it was more affordable. I had somebody, I was talking about what on a post on LinkedIn the last couple of weeks, and I was talking about the car and the stuff that we've done, and then this guy, and I totally get it, all of a sudden it just made me think, oh my God, do people just think I'm kind of being smug? And I'm really not trying to be smug or anything like that, because that's
yeah,
not like me, but I was just thinking, because he was saying, what about nurses? Nurses can't afford any of this stuff, you know.
yeah,
And actually, and what I did say to him was, on the car side, because my husband said some stuff kind of about supporting people, there were
yeah,
certain initiatives out there that might help him, that he
hmm,
decided, he said, yeah, I'll look into that. But I kind of said, look, we got our petrol car back in 2019, and the Hyundai that we've just got actually cost us less than it cost us to buy the petrol car. And we don't buy new.
yeah,
This is like 2 years old. The old car was 2, 3 years old, because we can't afford to buy new. That's not something we can
yeah.
do. So actually, you can buy EVs cheaper than people actually think. It's just a
Think,
matter of kind of looking
yeah.
for them, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. And there's also, I don't know if there still is, but there was an interest-free loan to purchase a second-hand electric vehicle in Scotland as well. So that was a good initiative as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, funnily enough, when I first got my Zoe, I think it was £164 a month for the car and the battery lease. So it literally was so cheap compared to what it
Yeah,
was to
that
actually,
is cheap.
fix the car I had. Things did go up in price though since then. I think that was a really good price back
Mm,
then, but
mm,
it is more expensive to get an EV now. But there's definitely your salary sacrifice, that sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Um,
I think
that
Octopus Electric Vehicles have just introduced a second-hand scheme
yeah,
as well, haven't they?
yeah, that's really good idea because not everybody, as you say, can afford or wants a brand new car.
No. Exactly, and
So
it's. I know that all cars are they depreciate anyway, don't they?
yeah,
And I always used to say, well, I think I had one brand new car back in 1995 when I first moved down here, which was really ridiculous thing for me to do. But you kind of drive off the forecourt and it loses 5 grand or whatever.
yeah,
There's
straight
that,
away.
isn't there? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like, right, okay. So for us, it just works better to get kind of a used EV. So what have you got now?
I have a Hyundai Kona at the moment.
Yeah,
It's due back in January, so I'm just waiting to see what work give me now.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I've been through Renault Zoe, Nissan Leaf. I've had an ID3. What else have I had? I've had another Renault Zoe, and now I've got the Kona. So I've been through quite a few different ones. So
And you'll have seen obviously now, kind of when you work for EO Charging and now working for Connected Kerb,
yeah,
you'll have seen the charging network changing over those years,
yeah,
wouldn't you, I
uh-huh,
bet?
yeah, absolutely. It's
So,
I think I had 2 charge points in the whole of in my town where I am now, and there's every car park's now got charge points. That it's still free where I live, which is
is it?
unbelievable. Still free, and you queue up for charge points, so hence why I don't use them. I just charge at home. But yeah, some local authorities have been better at the uptake of charge points than others. Some of them just, and I can understand they don't want to put them in. They feel that it's not maybe anything they should be doing, sort of thing. So,
Mm,
but
mm,
yeah, it's getting there. It's
yeah.
definite. But even we used to play a game of EV bingo. Eleanor Chalmers, maybe she used to be part of the EVA Scotland, and she's had a Nissan Leaf way before everybody else, I think, on this planet has. She her and there was a couple others. We used to play EV bingo, and I never got any where I lived. I think I got one every 3 months. I'd be like, and you used to get points for each each car that you saw. So if it was a Tesla, you'd get five.
I
we used to
like it.
we used to tot it up at the end of the week to see who.
Oh my God.
And
I
now
think
it's like you would just lose because every street you go in, there's a Tesla, there's a Kona, there's a a Kia.
yes.
It's
It's funny. It's funny. Somebody was talking on LinkedIn. Saying this. Somebody was talking on LinkedIn just last night, and they were saying that their local neighbour, their local friends,
mhm.
didn't really recognise EVs. They don't know what an EV looks like
Yeah.
unless it's plugged in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So they're kind of this whole kind of negative push from the media at the moment to just
Mhm.
kind of totally diss EVs and charging and everything like
Yeah.
that. And he was kind of saying, he says he thinks maybe everybody just thinks they should be like that, kind of painted bright green, And I said, what does everybody think that they're kind of driving around in little space, kind of spaceships or something like that? Because there was somebody else saying as well, last week, well, people who are non-EV drivers are kind of, saying all this stuff about driving an EV, and they're
Yeah.
non-EV drivers, so they don't know. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to diss anybody, like I say, if you're listening and you're watching and you want to buy one, or you want to lease one, or you want to get PCP, or whatever you want to do, salary sacrifice, just
Yeah.
try it. Just take them for a test drive, because
Exactly.
actually, don't listen to the media, because I have my thoughts about where it's all coming from.
Mhm.
Because to me, there's method in someone's madness out there. There's an agenda that says, we're doing this because there's a push from somewhere. But
Yeah.
and I hate to think that, but oh, I'm getting on
Yeah.
my orange box now. I better shut up.
Well, if you are in Scotland and you want to try out an EV, the best place is the Glasgow Arnold Clark Innovation Centre. It is absolutely amazing. They've got hundreds of EVs to try, and plug-in hybrids as well. But yeah, so they do a lot of events and things, and they're really nice
I've
people.
heard they're
So
good.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
brilliant. So it's just try them.
yeah,
It's one car might suit for one person, and I think as well, I couldn't go back to driving a manual car after driving an automatic. It's just so much easier.
yeah,
I do
yeah.
have to now and again, but it's just so much easier getting into an automatic, and and it's nice and quiet and peaceful.
It is very quiet. I must admit, occasionally I've kind of been feeling around for the gear stick and going, oh yeah, I don't need to do anything there, do I?
I know. This left leg's just lying free.
Yeah. Do.
You can tap your foot to your music.
Exactly. Oh
Yeah.
my God, my son hasn't driven it yet because there was a whole big scenario with him and passing his test and it all went horribly wrong. I won't even go into it, but yeah, so he's not driven it yet. I think he wants me to get used to it, and then I don't know. He seems a little bit fearful, but we'll see. We'll see how he gets on.
Oh, my daughter's no way. She can't anyway because we both have. My husband's got a fancy car, automatic, and I've got my work car. So I'm like, no.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a shame because she wanted to learn to drive manual, but I can understand why she didn't want to do the automatic just now. But I think it's so much easier to do it. She probably would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if my son can pass in a manual, that it'll be better. And we just couldn't hang on, really.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that we had to kind of make the decision, really. Otherwise, we could have been waiting for months and months and months, and then the prices were due to go back up again.
Yeah.
But hey, but listen, we've kind of gone off on tangents all over the place, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
But actually, so if you want to check out Connected Kerb, it is connectedkerb.com. Heather, you're on LinkedIn as well, aren't you? So people can connect with you from Connected Kerb on there. Is there anywhere? So did you say you've got Twitter? You're on Twitter as well, or as in Connected Kerb is?
Yeah, Connected Kerb is the Scottish EV Drivers is on Twitter and on Instagram, and we have a Facebook page as well as the group. So if anybody would like to join, you're more than welcome.
Fabulous. Well, listen, thank you ever so much for joining me. It's been lovely to talk to you, my darling.
You too.
And we will keep in touch. We'll be talking about Give Energy batteries and car charging, and we're both in the Decade of Doing group as well, aren't we? So there's lots of stuff always going on there. But thank you, Heather. I shall say goodbye to you, and to everybody else, I shall see you all next time. Thanks for watching this episode of Electric Evolution. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons to stay connected with us. And if you're inspired by our journey towards a sustainable future and want to support our mission on a monthly basis, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Electric Evolution Podcast. Your support really helps us to bring the latest insights and discussions in the world of clean energy, electric vehicles, electric vehicle charging and sustainability to you. If a regular subscription isn't what you're looking for, you can always consider buying us a coffee. Just head over to www.buymeacoffee.com/Electric Evolution Podcast. Every cup helps us to keep the electric evolution moving forwards. And if you're curious about our work in the EV infrastructure sector at Full Circle Continuous Improvement, why not visit us at www.fullcircleci.co.uk to find out more. And if you want to send me a message, you can always email me on liz@fullcircleci.co.uk. And finally, please don't forget to share this podcast if it sparked your interest. And let's keep spreading the word about all of these topics that we're covering. So, until next time, see you soon. Bye.